Hello and welcome. I'm Garima, and joining me on the dais is Mr. Chanpreet Sahni, Vice President at Hexagon PPM. Hexagon's PPM division is part of Hexagon, which is a global leader in sensor, software, and autonomous solutions. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir. We are glad to have you with us.
Thank you, Garima. It's a pleasure from my side as well.
Sir, let's begin with understanding Hexagon. Tell us about its major area of focus and your role in this esteemed organization.
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, Hexagon is a global company which is a leader in providing solutions through its sensor and software technology. We're working towards providing improved efficiency, productivity, and quality by putting data to across various industries, making data to work across various industries such as oil and gas, chemical, aerospace, infrastructure, safety, etc. PPM division, which I'm heading for India right now, is a solution provider to process industries, including owner-operators, wherein the people who are owning the assets, and to EPCs, which are the engineering, procurement, and construction industries. We are currently working with almost all the operators in the country in India and working towards developing their digital strategy and bringing out initiatives which are to the global best practices and standard. In India, this company has been present over many years. We've got employees based out of Hyderabad, Chennai, Bombay, Delhi, you name it, we have offices there. And this was one of the, Intergraph was the first company, which is now Hexagon PPM, which was one of the first companies that came into the scenario when the IT boost happened in Hyderabad. So we've been here for a long time. We work towards many solutions. We can discuss this more when we are talking further.
Yes, sure, sir. Thank you so much for enlightening us. And sir, if we talk about the current situation about COVID-19, how are you looking at this crisis and how do you think COVID-19 is changing the industry in terms of operations, workforce, and technology?
I think, first of all, this is a very unique situation that we are in. It's nothing like any of our previous downturns, first of all. We've not seen something like that in the past. We've like a double whammy for the oil and gas industry. It's just not that it's a readjustment of oil suppliers and oil demand. This is something different. The effect of demand and supply on top of the pandemic that we are going through has created a new model, and it's created a new segment that we're looking at. So yes, the items such as workforce management, technology development, operational efficiency, and creating a new culture of the actual physical distancing is taking over our industry as well. This is redefining the normal that we know, and as we all are talking about, the new normal will be digitally advanced, it will be more transformed, and I think it will be more data-driven.
Mm-hmm. And sir, if I talk particularly about Hexagon, what do you think how do you think Hexagon can contribute to this whole situation? And where do you see Hexagon in this whole COVID-19 scenario?
So Hexagon is working with, as I told you, with a number of companies or organizations in India. I'll be more specific towards the PPM division contributions because that's the area of my expertise. That I handle, but I also give you something on a larger perspective what in India Hexagon is contributing towards. We are working towards bringing in technologies such as connected worker, situational awareness, information management, shift handover, operation management, actually bringing in a lot of digital transformation and contributing towards the digital strategy of energy industry, because we're discussing the energy industry right now. On the other Hexagon verticals, we are working towards safety and infrastructure. We're working towards physically scanning the assets towards digital twin, and we are also looking at geospatial and geopositioning of a lot of elements. So in a lot of verticals, Hexagon forms a very integral part of the Indian industry as a whole. Now we are also empowering our clients to make decisions based on their data, which is available to them in very different, many silos that they have in the organization. And by removing these silos or barriers, what we're doing is we are making them or allowing them to make informed, confident, smarter, and quicker decisions.
So, can we say that you are simplifying the data for them so that they can make better and informed decisions?
More than simplifying the data, if you look at it, our industry, the energy industry, has data that is being generated on every and each platform. So we are going ahead and creating data on geosciences level during the seismic part of it, through isolation techniques, to completion techniques, to refining techniques, and all this data is there. And if you look at the research and whatever I've heard, most amount of data is being created in the last 5 to 7 years. The challenge is that this data is being used to the minimal amount. That's what we are helping the companies that we are working with, or the organizations we are working with. We are allowing them to use their own data much more efficiently, so that decisions that they have are more informed. What will that do is they'll create lesser errors. They will have job done once and right. They will have the right amount of information available to them, and in all of this creates a good ecosystem which is connected, and there is no physical barrier.
I believe that's a very, very crucial paradigm which you and your organization is initiating in the industry. And yes, definitely it will help a lot of the industry stakeholders today. And sir, moving on, if when we are talking about COVID-19, we have seen a shift in the regular ways of working, in the working models that we have today. And where do you see the shift taking place, and how do you think a post-COVID world would look like?
I think a post-COVID or a post-downturn, because as I said, it's a double whammy, right? For energy industry, it's just not COVID; it's also the actual downturn that we are in. So there will be a mix of business models that could be emerging up. There will be new ones that will be for sure that we will see in this crisis that will be emerging. But I also feel that the current models which are existing with the industries that they're working with, this have to be updated and upgraded as well, with introduction of technologies. So if you look at Indian downstream industry, for example, IOCLs and the big national oil operators that we have, they're all working towards or have been working towards creating the digital twins and operational twins. That's the law of the land right now. But earlier this was just more, and they were all fixated on creating a physical scan of the asset itself to have a digital model that they have. But now this is getting extended with the data that they have and the functions that they have, and in different cycles of life cycle management, as we call it. Now imagine a scenario in which an owner has a single source of truth wherein they're able to operate and maintain their plant right from the click of their iPad or a click of their laptop or their computer. And I'm not just talking about the physical scans as we were talking about, all their data, may it be their drawings, their material specifications, their delivery schedule, all related information available to a single person sitting on their desk through a single place. So this is the transformation that we are seeing. So yes, this will create much more efficient models that are there and create new ones also post COVID-19 or a post downturn.
Okay, yes, right, sir. And a lot of people that I interviewed before COVID-19, they used to mention this very specifically, that the true digital journey in the oil and gas industry has not started yet. And now with this entirely different situation that we have before us, do you think it would accelerate the pace of digitalization, which it already has to a large extent? What more do you think is there in store for the industry?
I think, Garima, it's a very appropriate question, and if I was on your side, I would surely ask this, because when we were speaking to the oil and gas company heads ourselves as well last year, they were all talking about they're either working on a digital strategy for their organization, or they have to work on a digital strategy. What we've also seen is a new role which is called as a digital officer is coming out, emerging in each of these large organizations in the past 5 years, right? But now move forward to times like now, wherein in the past 2 months you've read, I've read, and we've all heard somewhere or the other that in the past 2 months, the speed with which this digitalization is happening is exponential. Even I think a few days ago, the Microsoft head also said the same thing. Now, having a digital strategy is one thing, but the roadmap has to be very, very clear and well drawn. These strategies are conceived or laid down by people who are sitting up high in the food chain, right? But they're meant for. They're meant for people who are actually working on the plant, or the operator that's actually on the field. So they have to make sure that their work is reduced or their effort is reduced. Saying that, I would come back saying having a clearly defined roadmap for these strategies that allow them to succeed is very, very important and very required. And also, I would just add that they have to be a closed and a continuous loop, because these strategies cannot be a one-time thing.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be a closed loop wherein there is feedback mechanism, and that allows the strategy to be upgraded and adjusted to each organization. But you'll agree, each organization's work process is different, and that roadmap also has to be different.
Right. And so, as you said, it is very important to have a clear roadmap. What would you say to the organizations who are still a bit apprehensive, and particularly when we talk about the smaller businesses which do not understand properly the need of digitalization, and they say that we are working just fine, we have our clients, we have a strong network, and we don't feel that there's a need to do much more? What would be your message for them? Yes, we have had people, we have connected with people, and there are some people who say that, we don't need this and it's fine, the way we are working is fine. When things become normal, we get back to normal. But how would you convince them, basically?
Well, I think that's a digital adoption curve that we always talk about, right? As an energy industry itself, we are known as the laggards in technology adoption or a digital adoption curve. So we are still there. We not everyone in the energy industry will be the initial taking, or they'll not be the people who will be ahead of it. But come what may, everybody would have to take that digital journey or the digital step, as they say. Maybe it could be as small as getting everybody on access cards to their offices, because that would create more data for them in who's coming and who's not coming to office in the COVID. And it could be as large as somebody creating a workforce management tool for them, which we are helping with a lot of companies as well. What is positive though, and I think the number of people that are talking about not taking the step are small. What we've seen is that small or large managements have exhibited increased commitment and initiated important discussions, I would say. Even if it's initiation, they've started that, and they want their company's digital journey to be at least mapped.
Right. And so, going by the previous downturns we have had and the various phases of the industry, how do you think digitalization has evolved over the years? And since we are discussing digitalization at length, how do you think that the approach is evolving with time? Not just during COVID-19, but in general, how do you see the approach evolving?
We are learning a lot from other industries as well. To give you an example, we would take a lot from the gaming industry right now for visualization stuff, right? So we are taking a lot from other industries. We are also talking about AR, VR. We are now talking about artificial intelligence. We're talking about machine learning. So yes, we moved forward from the times wherein we were just discussing in conferences and looking at what the Western world is doing or what other industries are doing. There have been some strong actions from the government of India as well, and that has allowed or empowered the companies here, may it be government companies or private industries. They've all taken strong steps, and companies like Hexagon, we've seen how the inputs and the feedback has been changing over the past few months, I would say, wherein we've seen some strong initiatives from large organizations. I would say smaller ones are, as you said, are still a little bit behind, but the step change is there. We're seeing the step change come in, and that's allowing us to have those interactions, have those discussions, and take this forward.
Right, sir. And we have been discussing the challenges that we have had with COVID-19, but what are the opportunities that you see in this crisis? Where do you see a silver lining here?
While I would say not just silver lining, I see a very bright horizon, I would say. Uh, Post this, I have a strong feeling that this would be a very stronger community in which we will have more access to resources and very strong processes. For sure, data will be the king. It will allow organizations to communicate better amongst themselves and externally as well. There will be, again, talks about AI, ML going to increase in our industry. And you never know, the next big disruption that we keep talking about could come from the energy industry.
Right.
So I think the silver lining is in using the data that we've always been generating. And we are one of the industries that generate a lot of data. And secondly, using this data on a platform that would create a stronger ecosystem. I think these two will be our silver linings.
And so, since you talked about creating that strong ecosystem, how do you envision Hexagon as a very, very strong brand in this space, particularly when we are talking about digitalization? How do you visualize Hexagon as a brand?
So Hexagon as a brand, I would say, is one of the companies that is either number one or number two in the technology that they are offering. For example, PPM, since the last 13 years, and 13 years is a long time, has been a judge number one in the solution that they provide. And we are also, it's not just the industry outside, internally also we are transforming ourselves. We are moving from a product-based organization to a solution-driven organization. And rather than just having one vertical giving solutions, we are also looking at combining the solutions that we have. And for the client, it should be one organization, and we want to create that ecosystem as well. And if you look at the brand value and how the brand is gonna talk about, if you talk about defense systems, Hexagon is there in the country and globally. If you talk about safety infrastructure, as I said, we are there. A lot of high-end government tenders are being done through that. So we are also in the process of getting transformed, as I said. And once this change or once this pandemic is behind us, we'll also evolve as a much stronger, better, and well-known brand in the industry at large.
Right, sir. And so when we talk about, I also observed that you are actively involved in change management. And a lot of people, when I speak to them, they say that technology is the easy part. Digital is easy, but it is the cultural change where the real obstacles lie. What is your take on this within the organization?
Within our own organization or as industry as a large?
You can talk about Hexagon.
Okay, Hexagon. I think being a solution or a software solution provider, it's been easy for us, to be honest. We were very agile and we were very quick to move into the new normal working methods, right? We've been able to not stop, but we've been able to continue and support all our clients, all our customers, and we've been continued to be a partner with them during this time. And what's happened is as well, we've in every organization, not just Hexagon, we see these different and large segments of age groups, right? We've got millennials, we've got baby boomers, we've got Generation X, Y. You go all the way back, and we can take something from everyone, right? And it could be experience, it could be the new ideas, but everybody has something to contribute, and that's what has helped Hexagon being agile and quick, that they've been able to accommodate a lot of these good parts and being able to deliver to the partners very quickly.
Right. In that, yes.
Sorry, if I just talk about on a larger perspective as well, I think even externally also, we don't see much challenges, to be honest with you. I would say there are opportunities, again, as your silver lining question was there are opportunities here in this so-called black swan effect, but this has propelled into a lot more digital drive that we're seeing in the companies.
Right, sir. And now coming to my favorite part, sir, I would like to know what motivated you to join the oil and gas industry. What has been your inspiration and why oil and gas?
Well, I'll take it on a lighter note, then I'll tell you the real reason. They were giving me a trip to UAE and paying for the trip as well. So that got me hooked onto a company which was taking me outside and paying me for that as well. So yeah, that's the cool part about oil and gas, right? It makes you travel. No, but on a serious note, coming out of mechanical engineering college at a young age, it was something that every engineer could imagine as well, right? Being out in the field, working with different techniques, different pumps, so many moving parts, so many mechanical moving parts. So it was always enticing to see on what's this journey about. And if you talk about my journey, about it's been totally a fulfilling one till now. I wouldn't say that it's somewhere or anywhere something that I would call it a comma or something as well, but it's been a fulfilling one. From entering into my small logbook for the people who've been on the cement truck or a frac truck, that we used to get a small notebook. They used to enter all the data that we used to get from that truck, to talking about digitalization with you and our customer. It's been a very knowledgeable journey as well. On the E&P side, I've been very, very fortunate enough to have a strong field exposure, which has allowed me to understand the life cycle of an oil barrel. As through my experience in the different refinery sections, it's allowed me to understand the story when we talk about digitalization and different life cycle parts of it. I would also just add that from collection of seismic data to interpretation, modeling, vertical drilling, horizontal drilling, so many aspects of oil life cycle, right? It's got technology written all over, and it's always enticed me to look for the new horizon. And as you said, change is the only constant element, and this one industry gives you that a lot.
True, sir. Very true. And sir, if you had to give one message for the younger generation seeking a career in the oil and gas industry, especially at this time when they are feeling dejected, demotivated, what would you say to them?
First, I would say I've gone through 3 cycles of it, this being the third one, and I'm still interviewing on a platform as well. So this too shall pass. There is no way that we would not need people, and technology would replace people. What it's doing is it's allowing the younger generation to I would say open up into newer technologies. When we were coming out, there were nothing known as data scientists or data engineers. That now we talk about, that's one of the key hiring that every industry or every institution is looking at. So yeah, it's opening up a lot more avenues. Just stay close to the technology, how it's changing, and I think the younger generation would be the one that would bring the change. So they should be not feeling let down. They should actually be looking at as an opportunity to learn more and actually contribute back to the industry.
Thank you, sir. That's a very, very positive message. And one final message for the executives and managers like you who are struggling in their businesses right now. What is your
time to be more positive rather than looking at there's a lot of negative thoughts around us, a lot of negative news all around us. As most of the large managers or anybody who's a coach and would always say that if you are positive through this time, the things will be much brighter on the other side. So I would say to my peers, to my colleagues, to everyone who looks at it as well and is looking for some kind of a message out of this, is this is a time to actually think what would drive the next change, and this gives time for people to sit back, look at what would be done differently, and what the industry wants. And all the best to all of them.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a very positive and inspiring message. And I'm sure our audience will take that home. And thank you so much for sharing your journey, your personal journey in this industry. And there's a lot to learn from you. And we will look forward to Hexagon and your initiatives in this organization. And we have been absolutely delighted to have you with us today. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Garima, and I wish you the best to you and to Energy Dais as well. Good luck.
Thank you so much, sir. That means a lot.